Good morning, Year 8. So, before you watch this video, you should have watched the MathsWatch video P4, which tells you a little bit about two-way tables and how to complete two-way tables that have already been started. Okay. What I'm going to focus on here are those harder examples. There was one done on MathsWatch, but I think you probably could do with a few more examples before you attempt the questions on the MathsWatch assignment. So two-way tables are great. I love them because you're solving a problem. It's a bit like a logic problem. Okay, so a lot of the questions will be just lots and lots of words. And to work out how to answer the questions, we need to put the information in a table logically so that we can then see really clearly how many adults did not wear goggles and what fraction of children wore goggles. So that will be really, really easy once this table is filled in. Okay, so when we're drawing our tables, we should always have totals column. So our total column is going to be here at the end, okay, and here at the bottom. Okay, oops, and down here. Okay, so two-way tables is when we've got two different types of information. So one type I will put up here and one type I'll put up here. So here we've got 60 people visited a swimming pool one evening. It says 13 out of the 19 people who wore goggles were adults and there were 15 children. So it's really obvious that one of the categories is whether you are a child or an adult. Okay, so let's just highlight those words there so we can see. So we've got adults and we've got children. So I could put those down the side here. Okay. The other bit of information, we're told that some people wore goggles. Okay, so there's only two situations here. Either people wore goggles or they didn't wear goggles. So that's our two pieces of data. It's either wear goggles or didn't wear goggles. But it doesn't say didn't wear goggles in the blurb here. It just says wore goggles. So you've got to work that bit out yourself. So let's just fill this in here. So we said this was going to be adults, okay, and then this one is going to be children, okay, and then we've got wearing goggles, so I'll just put wear goggles, okay, and okay, didn't wear goggles. We'll just get the adults and the children in their correct boxes. There we go. Okay, so as we said, at the end we've got the total. So this will be the total number of adults, this will be the total number of children, this will be the total that wear goggles, this will be the total that didn't wear goggles, and in here will be the overall total. Okay, so if we look at this, we've got 60 people visited a swimming pool. So all of these numbers here should add up to 60. So that means in here I should have 60. And that's going to help me when I'm trying to add everything up later. I know it should all add up to 60. So what else do we know? 13 out of 19 people who wore goggles were adults. So 13 were adults. And that's just looking at those who wear goggles. So here's the wear goggles, okay. 13 out of 19 people who wore goggles. That tells me there were 19 that wore goggles to start with. And then it says 13 of those were adults. So 13 out of the 19 who wore goggles were adults. There's quite a lot of information in that one sentence there. And then it just tells me there were 15 children. So here's children. I don't know how many wore goggles and how many didn't, but I do know the total is 15. So that's all the information I've got here. Now I need to do a bit of problem solving and working out all the missing cells here. Okay, so if we just look at this totals column here to start with, I know there were 15 children. I know there were 60 in total, which means here must have been 60 take away 15, which is 45. And the total going this way, I know 19 wore goggles, I know there were 60 in total, so I know that this here has to be 41 didn't wear goggles, so that adds up to 60. Okay, so here I can work out this missing one here. 13 were adults that wore goggles, which means 6 children wore goggles. Okay, now I know there were 15 children in total. If 6 wore goggles, that tells me that 9 didn't. Okay, and then 13 adults wore goggles, but there were 45 adults in total, so that's going to be 32 didn't. And I've got one quick check. Do these two numbers here add up to this one here? Because I didn't have any of this at the beginning. So 32 add 9 is 41. So it works. I've filled in the table there. Okay. So it might be a good idea if you want to just copy that down. Part B, how many adults did not wear goggles? Okay. So adults didn't wear goggles. Well, we've got that filled in there. That's going to be 32. Okay, what fraction of the children wore goggles? So it's a fraction of the children. So I'm only looking at children. Okay, all right. And how many of the children wore goggles? Well, that was 6. So that's going to be 6. Oops, get a decent pen. That's going to be 6 out of 15 children. If I cancel that down, 3 is going to both numbers, so that's 2/5. Okay, so 2/5 of the children didn't wore goggles. Okay, so let's have a look at another one. Now, if you want to, you can press pause and have a go at this one on your own. If not, you will need to get a table drawn here. Now, this time I've gone 5 across and 4 down. Okay, so press pause and just get that in your book. If you would like to have a go on your own, then do that before you press play. Okay, so if we remember, the end columns has to be totals and the bottom row has to be totals. Okay, so I know that this is my overall total here. Now, it says 100 families booked a holiday in July or in August. Some of the families go to France, some go to Spain, the rest go to Portugal. So that tells me the different categories that I've got. So one category is which month they booked in, the other category is where they booked to go. So I've only got 2 spaces here, so I'm going to put my July and August in here. Okay, and then across the top I've got my 3 countries. We've got France, we've got Spain, and we've got Portugal. Okay, so everything's filled in for the table. So now I need to put the information in. So going right back to the top, we've got 100 families booked. So let's get that in first. That total there needs to be 100. Then it says 59 families booked to go on holiday in August. So here's August. The total is 59. Okay. 19 of the 35 families going to France booked to go in July. So 19 of the 35 families going to France. Well, that tells me that 35 families went to France. So let's get that in here. And it tells me that 19 of them booked in July. So 19 is going to go here. 30 families booked to go to Portugal. So Portugal's here. I need to put my 30 in here. And the last one, 20 families booked to go to Spain in August. So here's Spain, here's August. We'll put a 20 in here. Okay, so everything's filled in now. Okay, I'm just going to have a different colour. So I've just got to fill in the missing gaps. So if we come to the totals column first, 59 booked in August, there was 100 in total, so we have to have this as 4. Okay, if we look at the bottom row, we've got 30 and 35, which is 65. Okay, which means if this is going to add up to 100, this one here has to be 35. Okay, let's just get that in there. There we go. So, what other gaps have I got? I can't work these out yet because I've got 2 missing bits of information, and I can't work these out because I've got 2 bits of missing information. I can work this one out because I know that 35 people went to France, 19 booked in to go in July, so the rest must go in August. So I need to do 35 take away 19, okay, which is going to be 16. Again, here I've got 35 in total went to Spain, 20 booked to go in August, which means 15 must have booked to go in July. Okay. That means I can now finish these two by going across. So 19 add 15 is 34, which means Portugal must be 7. And 16 add 20 is 36, which means this one must be 23. And then I can just do a quick check, do these two, add up to this one, 7 add 23 is 30, so I know it's completed. Okay, now come back to the question. So it said create a two-way table, we've done that. How many families booked to go to Portugal in July? So there's the answer, 7. Okay. So this two-way table was slightly bigger than the first one, but you do need to make sure you've got enough room in your table for the categories, so 1 column here and 1 row, and you also need to have a column for your totals and a row for your totals at the bottom. Okay, so have a go at the MathsWatch assignment called two-way tables, and let me know how you get on.